Hi everyone, welcome back to the Top Drive show. My name is Dmitri and let's get started with our June Q&A where we're answering your best questions submitted to us in YouTube comments. Let's go. Hi, I'm Dmitri. I'm the new community manager here at Top Drives.
I'm Jonathan and I'm design director at Hutch.
Yeah, I'm Tim and I run marketing and analytics at Hutch.
So how are you guys doing during lockdown? How are you finding it?
Yeah, it's going all right. I think we sort of it's definitely that phrase got thrown around a lot, but it's definitely become the new norm. Yeah, sort of the as an operation, I feel like Hutch is sort of it's just been sort of impressed with sort of everybody sort of feels like they've really sort of adapted to it, and sort of we're functioning still pretty well. I'm kind of obviously we've been sticking very much to the kind of rules and regulations. I'm getting a little bit excited as it sounds like track days might be one of the first sort of events that can re-emerge. In a way, it makes sense because they're entirely outdoors and you're far away from everybody else, just by the very nature of them. So it sounds like here in the UK that kind of June is track day season is going to start. So I'm looking to get the car serviced and get a few things booked in.
Wow, nice. I haven't left the house in 2 weeks. It seems fine. Can't remember how to use my legs, but I'm doing just fine myself. Yeah.
Yeah, for me it's a new process because I've joined the company, while we're on in lockdown. So I've actually never met any of you yet, apart from video calls. So it's quite interesting how everything's going. But I think it's going pretty well generally. Despite some challenges, I think there are many opportunities that we can use, and in many ways to improve the hiring process as well. So there's many good things we can grab from this, in my opinion. And then for myself, eventually we will meet each other anyway, hopefully quite soon.
That's the thing. You've got the fun of when we do actually get back into the studio. That's a whole new experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, guys, as you know, we are doing our June Q&A. So we have a bunch of questions that we have collected from the previous, from the comments to the previous YouTube video. And we have 5 main questions. And then just a reminder, everyone who has submitted their question and we've chosen it for the show will get a carbon fiber pack in the game. So this will be soon added to your account. And if you want to take part in this show, please submit your best question to the comment section under this video. And after that, for the next show, we will choose our favorite questions and we will ask them. So are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Nice. So the first video we have from Redline, the first question we have from Redline, who is asking, will challenge ever be interesting again? Everybody I know is pretty sick of ceramic prizes every time. Having an ultra rare prize was much better. Even if it's an extra super rare RQ19, us high-end players can use it as desperately needed fused material as we're overrun with epics that need building. So what do you guys think?
Yeah. Well, I think we maybe had a question like this, I don't know, a year ago or something. It's been a long time like this. There's this really weird thing where it used to be at the end of the challenge, there was a super rare and very occasionally an ultra rare, right? And what was amazing about that is that nobody was ever happy with it. It was amazing. Like, it would either be a card that's not very useful and everybody go, well, this is pointless, this card's useless. Or it would be a card that's very useful and everybody would go, oh, I had that card and now everybody's got it. So now it's useless because everybody's got it. So it seemed like there was no way to win. And so we're like, all right, okay, we're developing the challenge seasons. Maybe that can just be a ceramic. It's got a chance of being a legendary. It's in there. It can be good. And then the challenge seasons are the things that are then more exciting and happen on a regular basis. And so obviously some people are like, oh, what happened to the food or the super rares, the ultra rares? But there's way less complaints about that than there ever were every week when it was like, oh, this card's useless, this card's pointless. So it's a weird one. That's just how people perceive it, I guess. But making the challenge seasons monthly, at least, I think, has helped a lot. And I'm interested in if there are other ways of somehow making it more interesting. But that specific card thing just weirdly seems to not make people happy.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think like you say that we probably did. I think this did come up previously, and I think there's definitely steps in terms of kind of looking at challenges and figuring out different ways to use that particular mode. And I know I've seen sort of a few ideas sort of floating around that. So yeah, like you say, probably not necessarily sort of make it interesting, but based specifically on the prize, but kind of even just that format feels like there's more we can do with it.
Yeah, there are other possibilities. It's true.
Thank you very much, guys. So Red Lion, congratulations on your carbon fiber pack. Next question we have from Grimjaw, and I think I've seen this name in the previous videos, so congratulations on another win. So the question is, during events on the leaderboard, we have 3 buttons, which are me, top, or refresh icons. So there's one more slot in there to add the bottom button. So what do you guys think of that?
Yeah, it's true. Like whenever I join an event, the first thing I do is like, oh, how's it doing? Am I just in here? Like you make it into tier 1 or tier 2. You're like, wait, can I feel happy with this, or is this bracket like only a third full? And you want to know, right? And you scroll, and sometimes you have to scroll for ages. So it's true, that is a little bit annoying. Another way to do it was you could just display how many people are in the bracket somewhere there, right? And then you wouldn't even need to press that button. So one way or another, something like that probably does make sense. So I'd say it's on the list of things that would be nice. It's not like, no, that's impossible for some technical reason, or no, that's so much effort, we'll never do it. It's like, oh no, yeah, there's probably something we could do. So it's almost perfect for the quality of life list, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think these questions are great because we can pick up on quite a few things and introduce them in sort of as part of a bigger update with many things added, instead of just having add one button in one random update. So it's
that's right. And it is. I do like having the upvote system on these, because people are always coming in with their ideas. Like we hear them all the time from the community, but it's just nice to have this system, and you're like, see which ones get the most upvoted. That just tells us a little bit what to pay attention to as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Grimjaw. That's an excellent question. So you get a carbon fiber pack. So next question is from Ben O'Callaghan. He's asking, would there be any plans to add more cars back to the older car updates, like American Dream, for example?
I think, I think in terms of sort of that idea, the answer is probably no. I think what we would look at doing is where there's kind of scope for like another themed pack. So it might not be American Dream 2, or there might be sort of a new American update in the future that kind of makes sense. I think the kind of obviously sort of the way Top Drives has been evolving is really sort of focused around these big updates with a lot of cars and a lot of variety, and I think that's going to continue. So really, in some ways, we're driven by where makes sense next in terms of where is there a kind of big exciting pool of cars that can be themed together. So sort of not really looking at kind of adding smaller numbers back to a previous theme. And I think what if people if any players think that we've sort of missed some cars that really need to be in Top Drives, then obviously sort of send those through, and we keep a pretty full on record of the sort of multiple kind of car lists that are kept and gradually kind of build up and up until they make sense as a full update. Yeah,
we did actually have a couple of, I can't remember what it was exactly, some late additions to American Dream in particular came out in a subsequent update. We just filled a few gaps in, but now it's been so long, I don't think we would add any more. I tell you, one thing I want on this note, I think this has come up before as well. I want a like Top Drives Classic or something, a tag for all the cars that were in at launch, so they get their sort of moment. Because now they're coming up on 3 years old, they're so diluted out there. It's like, no, but they're still good, So that's personally what I would like to have. Maybe I'm biased because I was there at the beginning and I've got loads of those cars. But anyway,
that'd be cool. It's funny actually. Yeah, it's definitely. I think because for us there's a tiny subset of like, I don't know, 50 cars or something that were actually in it for even longer, right through kind of development. And those cars now just absolutely sort of stick in my head. Like if I see a kind of I can't remember the year, it's like a 1981 yellow Vauxhall Astra. Like there's certain cars that just have become so synonymous with top drives for me. But yeah, no, definitely get that classic, a classic tag would be really nice.
Yeah,
cool idea. I like it. All right, thank you, Ben. Congrats on the carbon fiber packs. So the next question is from Jason Kanak. Can we get a countdown for how much time we have left when we buy the 7-day clubs multiplier?
Right, because you buy it and it's doubling your rewards, and then
the countdown, that shows how much time goes until
12 hours. Yeah, that is a quality of life feature right there. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there should also be a place where you could buy it. Like I've had sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go nuts on clubs this week. Let's buy it. And then you can only buy it at the end of an event when the prize thing comes up. And I just go, oh yeah, that's my prize. That's great. And it's like, oh no, wait, I was going to buy it just then. Damn, I've got to wait for the next event. It's all a bit odd, isn't it? So I feel like there's some quality of life magic could go on there one way or another. I know what you mean.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And so we'll go to question number 5. And by the way, thank you, Jason. You're getting a carbon fiber pack. Congrats. The 5th question is from Juan Cruz Campora de Gaetano. What do you think about the idea of having leagues for each rarity? I imagine it would be something like a weekly challenge, but not one, actually 7 at the same time. One for each rarity to test the full spectrum of your garage. What do you guys think of this?
Oh, right.
Yeah, I mean, that interesting idea. I think we've in a way this is a concept that we not that specifically, but the idea of something that tests your full garage. That's all. I think we've mentioned it an awful lot. That has always been a big part of top drives. Is like the high end stuff is cool and exciting, but actually it's the full spectrum of cars that the game was built around. And so yeah, having something that sort of tests that in a very clear way is definitely interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to. I don't know. You wouldn't want to do it all the time, and you wouldn't want to make 7 weekly challenges every week. And the legendary one, not many people would be very competitive in that. And it's also kind of weird because in top drives, the commons actually is one of the harder ones, because lots of people don't keep many commons. So it's like you wouldn't be able to have a sort of, you start here and you work your way up or something. So there's a slightly odd thing there. But in general, I think there's something in that. We were just talking about how challenges could be more interesting. It's like, is there some way to make that work? So yeah, have a think about that. Some way to get something along those lines working in the challenge.
That was awesome. Thank you very much, guys. So these are the main questions. We're done with them. Thank you very much, Juan. You are getting a carbon fiber pack. Congrats on that. We do have a bunch of extra questions, actually, that team has kindly found while browsing social media and forums. So we have 3 questions. These are unnamed, so there's no reward for these guys for these questions, but I think these questions are quite important, so let's get into it. The first question is server issues at the end of every event. Going on forever. Why do you do nothing about it, guys? Why do you do nothing to address these? Come on, tell us.
Yeah. So server issues at the end of Top Drives events has been a running challenge, I would say. We ended up with this game where the last 5 minutes is really important. If you can get your wins in there, you can get ahead of people if they're not playing it, maybe. That's one of the reasons it's harder to play if you're in Asia or somewhere as well. It's not a great time. It's one of these challenges we have. And the way servers work, I've learned a lot about them from Top Drives. I still don't understand the details, but there's a whole automatic scaling thing, right? When there's more demand, the servers that we use sort of scale up to meet it. And it turns out that the way players interact with events is it scales up just like that, and it's too quick for those systems to adapt. So we had a sort of terrible, I think it was 2018, it was so bad all the time, we literally stopped running Tri-Series till we could get ahead of it. And I think that's when we put in preemptive scaling. So we're we know it's going to go nuts. So let's just make sure the servers are ready for it. And that helped for a bit. And then there was some other problem with the third-party service that's somewhere in the chain of servers that were randomly getting errors. I think we reduced our dependency on that. That sort of got cleared up. And now just recently, it's all coming back again, I'm in there, you're in tier 2 and you're like, no, I can do it. I just have to buy tickets a couple of times, the last 10 minutes here maybe, and I can make a run at tier 1. And then you just spinning, go into the match, do the match, spinning, slows you down and you can't do it. We miss out on people buying tickets, like that. It's just, we don't want it. I don't want it. And so we are working on it. What you can't see is that each time it happens, we look into it and the server guys make some kind of fix or tweak and they go, I think this will deal with it. But you can't actually ever know for real if it will until the next event comes. That's the annoying thing about it. There's no way to simulate that intensity in the same way that it happens in real life. So we are trying to make those fixes and we are trying to improve things each time. Evidently, we haven't got there just yet, but further fixes are in as I speak. And so hopefully we'll get on top of it because we all want it to work. It's in everybody's interests.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. The next question is kind of related to that to an extent because it's about the unfilled brackets in the events. So that's really it. What are you guys going to address? How are you guys going to address the issue with unfilled brackets?
That's right. So because we changed this thing, right? The whole idea was you could late join an event and get into an almost empty bracket and win with almost no effort. So then we changed it and we're like, okay, there'll be a cutoff near the end where no new brackets will be created. You'll just be added to old ones. You'll fill up, existing ones and overfill a little bit. We increase the number of tier 1 prizes in finals events to sort of make up for it because there'll be a bit of extra people in there. So that went up to 10. And in theory, that reduces the incentive to late join and those brackets go away. But somehow, sometimes, little hardly filled brackets are creeping in there. We see that they get created and then they stop adding people for some reason later on. So the thing we said about we're not going to create new brackets towards the end, that is working. We're not actually creating new brackets, but there's these ones that stop growing for some reason. And that has been getting worse at the same time as these server problems have been getting worse. It's all related in some way. I don't fully understand it, but it's all part of that same problem that we're trying to solve, right? Like, once again, we don't want it to be happening. It makes it unfair for people who put all the effort in. Some other people stumble into a small bracket and get things easier. So that is hand in hand with the server challenges, something that we're trying to fix and stop from happening. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. Final question from the bonus questions is, again, kind of related. So it's about prize cards. And the question is, why are we rerunning alternating prize cards? So we usually have one card that's new, and the next prize series we have a card that's been already used before. So are we planning to change this at all, or are we happy with how it all is at the moment?
Right. Yeah. So that we stopped doing reruns, right? Because when we do a rerun, we want everybody who previously got that card to be taken out of it, so that they don't get another one, or they don't beat people who want another chance of getting it. And we put them into their own event to win another car. And then we found that works terribly, actually, because the distribution of those players is such that there's a few people who are just miles ahead of everybody else. And even with the late join change, if you came in the last day with 0 points, you're way ahead of these people who've been beaten down to negative 500 or whatever. It's just like, fundamentally, the distribution doesn't work. So we're like, okay, we'll make it so that you can have a challenge that those guys can do at the weekend instead. So we got that out just recently. And now we can get back to what we were doing before and what generally we think is the most sustainable way to do it, which is roughly to alternate a rerun with a new prize car. Because the alternative is we could do new prize cars all the time, but eventually we'll run out and then it will be reruns all the time until we add new cars. And so this is the theory. By sort of alternating it out this way, it sort of balances it out for the game in the long run, which is what we always have our eye on. We want people to be enjoying this for years.
And I mean, there was, by their very nature, I mean, the prize cars are some of the most exciting, most collectible, most desirable cars in the game. And obviously there's players at any given time, there's players at all stages of their top drives journey. And so I think it just, if for us, like you're saying, Tim, it feels like that is the right balance. Because there will be people coming up in their top drives career, and it feels fair to give them a chance to win some of the some of the most exciting cars that we've had in the past.
Exactly. Yeah. Speaking of which, Dmitri, right? You've just started. You've beaten the campaign, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What's the best car that you have that you didn't get from the campaign?
It's probably the wide body. Which one was it? I can't remember. The new one.
The Hellcat wide body, the yellow one.
That one.
I don't have that. I've got the green one. That's got slightly better handling. That is nice.
It's very good. It's good.
All right. Well, have fun with that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you guys very much. And we are done with our main sort of 2 sections, and it's time for actually our bonus community question that was asked on the last show, which was, what is the most interesting thing that you've seen driving past during the lockdown?
Yeah, so I think I'd mentioned, it's not that I live near a Morgan factory, but I felt like all I was seeing was kind of the few times I went out, I just kept seeing Morgans for some reason. And it's, it was surprising. So I haven't seen many for a while. Also here where I live, there's a couple of kind of slightly sort of not faster roads, but kind of roads sort of trying to think, sort of a few hundred yards away. And every now and again, I just hearing stuff and not seeing it, and hearing some really nice stuff. But don't get to kind of track down what it is. But yeah, I mean, so some really kind of interesting responses. I'll just run through them in sort of in no particular order. Tillman Protzner, a sort of familiar name as well. Actually saw an unbelievably rare car. So a Porsche 935 in martini colors or martini livery, which is I mean, that is even if you went to the sort of Goodwood Festival of Speed, that would be quite a kind of rare sight. So just a very, very cool car. I think they say that it kind of lives somewhere in their vicinity. So I think they've sort of seen it before. But yeah, that's if you're gonna make an essential run to the shops during lockdown, a 935 is a fairly unique way of doing it. Next on the list was Preston LK, who saw a Ford GT, so kind of current generation. So I think a 2017 model, which again, I mean, that's going to be a dramatic. I've never actually seen one out on the road, but I mean, that's going to be a fairly dramatic sight. I think it's one of those cars that it's so kind of sort of almost wasp-like in terms of kind of how the bodywork is structured. We were actually kind of a few of us from work. It was a few months ago now, but we're some can't say where, but we were somewhere where there was a sort of Ford GT that somebody had, and actually they were sort of showing it. It does its party trick is kind of going into full-on maximum attack track mode, and you know it's a button you press when it's stationary, but it's like the first few seconds of a transformer transforming. It's like it drops. It really kind of aggressively drops right down on like ride height, kind of spoilers pop up, things that, you know, it's just it's a very cool kind of party trick for a car to be able to do. So that's a good spot. And then I think probably my personal favorite was Josh Greenfield. It's not a vehicle that's going to win many challenges. Well, it win a few off-road challenges, but they spotted a Unimog out and about. So Unimog is it's a utility vehicle basically. There were kind of military versions, a lot of different utility applications, built by Mercedes. It's my personal favorite because I think my dad described it to me once when I was probably 5 or 6, and I think he probably described it as a thing that it can drive over absolutely anything. And as a 5 or 6 year old, in my head, that just meant anything. It could, it's like volcanoes or skyscrapers or whatever. Like nothing was going to stop this car. Just absolutely kind of sort of renowned for just unbelievable kind of axle articulation and kind of traction, and just a truly sort of go anywhere vehicle. And it's got a great name as well. So no, those are some fantastic spottings.
Yeah.
So in terms of the next bonus question, I thought I'd sort of bring it back to top drives a little bit here. And so given the fact that we're all in lockdown, I know that I'm starting to think of kind of what would be a lovely trip to do at some point in the, we don't know when, but in the future. So as imagine a scenario that you're based in the UK, you're keen to take a road trip down to the south of France, and enjoy a bit of, don't know whether it's Nice or Cannes or somewhere down there, you're going to do it through up and over the Alps. So you've got a bit of a lot of motorway driving, a bit of amazing kind of twisty alpine roads, and it's you and 3 friends. So what would be your top drive? They've got to be top drives cars for you and 3 friends to head from the UK down to the south of France, and they have to be different models. You're not allowed to just pick 3 Porsche Cayennes as your answer. So yeah.
That's an excellent question. Thank you very much, Johnny. I think this is it for our Q&A. We are done with all of our questions. So thank you very much, guys, for joining in, and we'll speak to you later. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you very much for joining our Q&A. Thank you for sending your questions. I would like to personally thank Red Lion, Grimjaw, Ben, Jason, and Juan for sending your questions. You will soon get a carbon fiber pack added to your Top Drives account. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, guys, if you would like to not miss any of our upcoming videos. If you would like to take part in the next Q&A, which will come out in July, please send your favorite questions to the comment section under this video, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for all the news and the upcoming videos as well. So yeah, thank you very much, guys, for joining, and I will see you in the next episode of Top Drive Show. Bye-bye.